You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
Ending the suspense for school-going students, CBSE said that it will not be conducting exams for classes 10th and 12th. The MHRD and the Central Board of Secondary Education informed the Supreme Court that the board exams scheduled between 1st to 15 July stand cancelled due to the coronavirus pandemic in the country. While 10 students can relax because the exams have been cancelled in toto, class 12 students will be given an option between appearing for the exam when the conditions are conducive or being assessed on the last 3 exams. An order from the Supreme Court is expected on 26th June at 10:30 am after the government files a detailed affidavit on the assessment scheme for the exams. But what are the reactions to this decision? And what's next for students? For this podcast, we spoke to retired Army officer Amit Bathla, who was one of the petitioners at the Supreme Court, Amita Mulla Vattal, who's the principal of Springdale School, Pusa Road, and Jaita from College Dekho, which provides career guidance to students. You're tuned in to The Big Story, the podcast where we dissect the headline-making news for you. And I'm your host, Shorbori. Schools and higher educational institutions have been shut since early March before the pandemic-mandated lockdown began officially. 3 months down, it's still not clear as to when they can open up exactly. School authorities, parents and the government are still mulling over how to reopen schools in the next phase of unlocking activities in the country. But in the meantime, a lot of academic activities, classes, college exams, entrance exams such as the JEE exam for engineering, NEET exam for medical colleges, and most importantly, board exams for classes 10th and 12th have been impacted. And that's how this case landed up at the Supreme Court. In April, CBSE had announced that it would only conduct pending exams for 29 subjects in order to promote students and help them get admissions to college. Then on 18th May, the MHRD released a revised timetable for the pending board exams. And then when it was finally decided that the remaining exams would be held between July 1st to 15th, a group of parents led by retired Colonel Amit Bathla, whose wards were due to appear in the CBSE board exams, approached the Supreme Court to get the exams cancelled. And they argued that, firstly, there was no certainty on when the prevailing conditions in the country would improve, so delaying the exams would also negatively impact the admission processes for colleges, especially for those students who have applied to foreign universities. Secondly, these exams would be held in exam centres and that would expose the students to COVID-19 infections. And thirdly, there was also the added concern of how students from containment zones would be writing the exams. Some states like Maharashtra and Odisha took no time in declaring that they wouldn't be able to conduct the board exams due to the rising cases. A week after the petition was filed by the parents, even the Delhi Education Minister Manish Sisodia wrote to the HRD Minister Ramesh Pokhriyal requesting him to cancel the remaining exams in the capital, where the coronavirus infections are spiking every day. On June 23rd, CBSE also informed the Supreme Court that the decision to cancel board exams was at an advanced stage. And finally, on 25th June, appearing for the Cento and CBSE, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta informed the court that while Class 10 exams were completely cancelled, Class 12 students would have the option of appearing in exams if they wish to. And this is how it's supposed to work. For those who don't opt for the exam, there will be a scheme for assessment based on the past 3 exams. This scheme will be notified by 26th June latest, and the results of the assessment would be out by July 15th. And this is Colonel Amit Bathla talking about the decision.
No, ma'am, it was a great decision. In fact, it was much wanted. And that's what the petition was, to cancel the exams amidst this pandemic. And I think the CBSE has submitted its proposal and the courts have also agreed to that. So I think that was the primary aim of the petition, to cancel the exams and, to save the children from going out in this pandemic. Unlike the ICSE in the Mumbai High Court, where they said that from 1st July, the option is either you appear for the exam or you take the alternating marking scheme. But what CBSE has done is, they have said there will be no exams in July anyway because of the condition. And they will be giving marks to the children for the subjects which are balanced based on the average of the last 3 papers that they have given. So And if there is a child who still feels that probably the last subject that was left was his best and he could have further improved on his marks, so they've left it open-ended to say that as and when the situation improves, then they will conduct the exams, and such children may exercise their choice to probably appear for the exams then.
And this decision is not for CBSE students alone. The ICSE board has also informed the Supreme Court that they too would abide by the decisions taken by CBSE for the pending exams. But just to go back to what the Solicitor General said, for those who want to appear for the Class 12th board exams, he said that the exams would be conducted when, quote-unquote, the conditions are conducive. As many schools are now serving as quarantine centres, so the decision was also taken in light of the current logistical issue. So now, given that we don't know when the conditions will be conducive for the exams exactly, was the optional exam for Class 12 students a good decision? Amita Mullah Vattal, principal of Springdale School, says that the open-ended decision at least eliminates uncertainty by giving students a choice.
So you see, it was inevitable that you would have to cancel the exams, given the kind of situation that was happening in the country. So, and the kind of fear that was all over the place, the uncertainty, the worry that the parent community had. So there was no way that the examination should have not got cancelled. In fact, all of us were looking for a decision sooner than later, and thankfully it has come. So that was a good thing. You know, I think the Supreme Court in its wisdom has understood that this is a highly competitive country, unfortunately. And there's, by law, you can't really, the parents per se, many of them may want to see that their children give an optional exam later on because there are issues about their marks and the fact that they may get some better marks, because there is a large part of the parent body who also looks at that aspect. So at least they have left it open-ended by giving this option that here is one option that you can use the last 3 subjects and they can be added. And if not, then if you are not happy with that decision, then you have the option of taking an exam if and when. At least you can get on with your life, you can get on with your admissions.
While, as Ms. Vattal says that this decision can help students get on with their lives, Jaita from College Dekho, an institution that provides career guidance for students, holds a dual opinion. She says that while it might end the suspense for students, cancelling the exams completely might also have drawbacks. Listen in.
Actually, I have a dual opinion on that. Yes, while on the one hand, it could be extra stressful because the students have been anticipating, and every time a certain date was fixed, again it got postponed and further postponed. And so yes, so that the pressure or the lingering anxiety of students, vis-a-vis the board exams, do need to take them into account. But I like institutes like IITs, etc. They have also announced that it might not be in the best of interest of the student to completely cancel the exams. Why? Because students have spent more than a year now, because of the delay, preparing for their board exams. And for many students, while board exam marks matter, main exams like JEE, etc., a certain weightage is given to how much you score in your entrance exams also. So for certain students, the priority it's like maybe a 50-50 priority. 50% of their efforts they would invest in their board exams, and that eventually goes on to help them appear for their entrance exams as well. So yes, so while on the one hand, for some students, this cancellation of the exams might be a boon in disguise, but for some students who are actually looking forward to acing the entrance exams, for them it could be quite a blow, because all of us have been students. And students who are really focused and driven, they would have performed well in all their exams, the previous exams. But for students who had a certain aim in mind, for them, it could come as a shocker now that no board exams will be conducted at all,
More details on some of the decisions taken are expected soon. What are the tentative dates for the optional exams? When will the academic year begin? So stay tuned to the Quint for all updates. If you like listening to this episode, please subscribe to the Big Story playlist for episodic updates. We're live on Apple, Google Podcast, Spotify, JioSaavn, and most of the other popular podcast streaming platforms. For other podcasts, please log on to the Quint website and check out the podcast section. For any feedback, shoot an email to podcasts@thequint.com.
Thanks for listening. Log on to the Quint's website and check out our other podcasts.